What do you think companies or advertisers are getting wrong when it comes to connecting with audience?
But marketing professionals can get lost in their bubble very fast. That they build campaigns and they build, plans and strategy for their own ecosystem and their own bubble without keeping an eye on exactly what matters. I always say the right way to go is understand what the business objective is. What's guiding the idea? Then what are you really trying to achieve first? How does that business objective inform your marketing objective? Then your marketing objective then guide you to say what strategy are we being putting behind this? What's the insights? How do we go to market? How do we achieve this for your audience? Has nothing to do with me, right? And then follow them where they are.
Bukayo Ewuoso is the head of business advertising marketing solutions at PC, the fast-rising technology company formerly known as PC Mobile. He plays a key role in the company's transformation, leading growth strategy, driving multi-industry marketing solutions, and championing PC's expansion into messaging, payment, ad tech, and marketplace services across the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, Bukayo Ewuoso. Before we get back into the conversation, I would like to share something with you, which is the goal of this podcast. We live in a society or a world where people or young people now think that success is overnight. Sorry to say, but that is a myth. And so we're using this opportunity to interview Africa's greatest minds, industry leaders, people who have walked the talk. We are going to be talking about their success stories, their failures, and all of that, so that you can also learn one or two things from what they have to say. The goal for this month is to make sure that we hit 10,000 subscribers. And so I enjoin you to share with as many people as you think will benefit from this dialogue. It's the executive dialogue. Share, like, subscribe, and you'll be glad you did. Let's get back into the conversation. You're welcome to the Executive Dialogue. This is a podcast where we interview Africa's greatest minds, industry leaders across several sectors. This is a podcast where you get to learn from their struggles, their failures, their successes, and more importantly, their stories. Today is a very important day because I have with me one of Africa's greatest minds by the name Bukayo Ewuoso. Great to have you, Bukayo. How are you
doing? How are you doing?
Great. I think I've been trying to get you here for quite a while. Thank God you finally had my time.
I understand. We're happy that we can make this happen.
Awesome. So we're pretty much just going to get into it, and we'll just be asking some questions just to get to know you more, especially for the audience who do not know who Bukayo is. So let's just get to the nitty-gritty of it. Who is Bukayo? Talk about your background. Where did you grow up? And yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Bukayo Ewuoso. I think you're quite comfortable with that. I sit in between business growth and marketing. I've done marketing quite a lot of years, majorly on digital. But I've moved to business growth in the last, say, 2-3 years, majorly, right? Where did I grow up? I like to say I grew up in between Mushi and Lekki, right? So I spent some of my time in Mushi, but I also spent some of my time in Lekki where I grew up here. So I have that perfect space stuff.
No, are you Paco? Are you Potsi?
You have to choose. It depends on what you need to unleash at different times, right? But seriously, I did grow up in both sides, right? I spent practically all of my holiday on the island growing up, right? And I spend my time in Mushi, but I also went to school in the University of Lagos. Practically all my education was from there. But I have been able to work across different sectors over the years. I worked in, I think, practically every sector I've touched. Yeah, we put it that way: telco, MNOs, startups, tech, FMCG, fintech, crypto. Be able to be privileged. I do my best. Yeah, that's what I do.
You see why I say is one of Africa's greatest minds.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, if I may ask, how did you, as a boy in Mushi, how did you get into marketing? How did you get into tech, right? Is it something that's always been something you've been looking forward to getting into, or, you just stumbled into it? How did you find yourself here?
Yeah. So I think I'm very careful of trying not to paint the wrong perception of, I grew up in Mushi as well. My parents, my mom worked in Ilag, University of Lagos, and my dad worked in Shomili local government before he then retired. Okay. So I had more exposure. right, in terms of what I did school. I had friends, and that kind of really expanded my mind. And then I had relations and cousins where I did spend time, yeah, during my holidays, exactly. So, but how did I stumble on tech or to let's say marketing? Really, the journey actually started from marketing. Before then, I found myself in marketing, but specifically for technology companies, right? In year four, yeah, I think it was year four, if I'm not mistaken, 2016. I immediately just wanted to go for, a training by Google. So it's called Google Digify Bikes, right? But that time. And I think a friend of mine texted it to me, sent it to me, and I was like, you should check this out. I'm like, okay, let me just go for this and listen to them, listen to what they have to say, learn one or two things from there. From there, the journey began from that time to where I am today. But I think interest in tech really started from a very young age. I usually wanted to study software engineering. Since I've been a kid, I usually wanted to build games, specifically. But really, software engineering was not what it is now. Like you can't actually. There was no university in the entire Nigeria that had a course on software engineering. The closest we had was computer science. Yeah, so that's exactly. But the had was computer science. But I still didn't go for computer science because I felt like it was either I was going to do this core or I was not going to. I don't like doing things halfway.
Yeah.
Right. So I really didn't go for that. So I studied assist management. But I never practiced it today. I have myself to get somewhere. Plenty of 5 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. I also can say the same. I have a degree in agriculture and biosystems engineering. I have not practiced one.
Understand? I mean, you adapt to the market reality, being able to position for what's actually valuable and what is employable. That's the important thing, really.
Exactly. Now you talked about your, family background. You talked about your father who was in University of Lagos, right?
So my mobile team, rest of Lagos, yeah.
Okay. Who would you say at that younger age was one of the major big influences in your life?
Hmm. So I really think it's a compounding effect, right? I wouldn't say it's one person because most of the time people think it's role model, right? I don't believe in one single role model.
Okay.
I believe in seeing different values in different people and what you can adopt because really nobody's perfect, right? And then people go, right? Everyone has their excesses. So I'll say one of the biggest impacts would be my brother. Well, maybe for a start, right? To drive the interest in technology, in computer, I'd be put it that way, right? My elder brother, Adeyombo, right? Built that interest in me. But I also had access to certain things through my mom in coach. So again, I said like my entire education was University of Lagos from nursery, primary, secondary to university, right? So after school, what happens is I go to office. Of course, after primary school, I go to office. After I said I go to house, when she's closed there, that's when we go home. So I think from a very young age, I had access to computers, right? Because of our colleagues in the office. So I had access to computers. She taught me how to use a computer, taught me how to type. I could type.
It's good that I'm your friend now. Because your story is similar to that of the Yates.
Yeah, no. I mean, I understand that, right? I'm not saying they don't come with their challenges because I didn't have a personal computer. But what I did have was when I was done with school, like after school closes, and I go to my mom's office, and made me to access a computer from the secretary, right? From that point of view. So that gave me access to technology. I could type, I could access the internet, I could do assignments. Things compounded over time. So that gave me access to technology. In terms of exposure and dreams and what's possible, I would also look at that from my aunts, right? So when I said that, I spent my time between Mushi and Lekki, right? So my aunts and my cousins lived in Lekki. So I spent practically every holiday, like after every time of the island, right? So that gave me a little bit of exposure on this is what I want for my life. Because I think it's one thing to be somewhere, it's another thing to be exposed. So your mind, you can see what's exactly your mind, it expands, this is what's possible. So I think it's a compounding effect of the different buckets. My dad is very principled, so I understood, discipline and being able to delay gratification and see things through from that point of view. So I wouldn't say one thing, but I'll say combination of different factors laid the man that I am today or becoming in that aspect.
Okay. So let's delve into we've talked about your background. Let's delve into who you are today and what you do. You're currently the head of business at PC Mobile, right? Um, who are they? Who, for people who don't know what PC, who PC Mobile is, What do they do? And tell us about your day-to-day activities as the head of business at PC Mobile.
Yeah. So we actually rebranded it to PC. We rebranded to PC in December 2024. Actually, so we used the word PC rather than PC Mobile because we have multiple businesses also on the PC, right? So we did just want to be known for mobile, which was like, the core thing initially.
Okay.
But what we do at PC, we're a majorly technology company. My role is, head of business at PC Ad Tech, so advertising technology is where I lead. I have this the ball stuff on your table. That's what I really like to say when it comes to what do I do, what's my day-to-day like. My day-to-day is that everything stuff on my table. And the core of that is revenue, right, in terms of business growth, right? So how do you then achieve that business growth can then come in terms of different fronts, right? So from selling to empowering your team to make sure that, our sales team, we have a sales team, right? So they have the right material, they have the right collateral, they have the right understanding of the products, right? In order to be able to take that to market and solve a problem. But what we do as a business is we help businesses and companies to achieve their marketing objectives using our advertising technology in simple terms. So how do you achieve your business objectives and marketing objectives with our technology? That's our core for us, the business. So now we do that across different ways, but the goal is majorly to bring you to achieve your business objective using marketing as a channel or advertising as a channel.
Okay. So if you're putting it for layman, you have a platform where people can go on to advertise on, right?
Exactly.
And have several inventories attached to your platform.
Correct. So to expand on that, right, if we go a little bit deeper, like you mentioned, so we do have programmatic ads, which allows you to buy ads on websites and apps, right? So basically display banners. We're a reseller for MTN ads in Nigeria and South Africa. We're a reseller for TikTok and Telegram ads in Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and some MENA. Okay. In the MENA region. Okay, as well. We do have partnerships with Phoenix, the Boomplay, to mention a few. Right. So we have an ecosystem of, advertising technology in terms of inventory.
Okay.
So whether you are in the early stage in terms of the top of the funnel trying to drive awareness or brand recognition or brand recall or engagement, when we look at the likes of FMCGs, down to the bottom of the funnel when you're looking at acquisition-led campaigns as a whole, right? You say, the likes of fintechs, crypto companies who are looking to drive app install, sign-ups and downloads, exactly, sign-ups, registration, increasing transaction for your mobile app or for your products. We're able to work with you across the entire funnel to bring you to the business objective.
Awesome. That's pretty impressive. Next question would bring me to, what do you think companies or advertisers are getting wrong when it comes to connecting with audience?
So I think one of the first things that happened, or one of the biggest mistakes, is that, and again, it's going to be a little bit controversial, but marketers make the mistake of, or should I say, marketing professionals. I don't like using the word marketers because it gets confused with sales, few sales agents, not even just sales managers, right? But marketing professionals can get lost in their bubble very fast. That they build campaigns and they build, plans and strategy for their own ecosystem or their own bubble. So marketing professionals build plans for marketing professionals. Something that somebody like you will see, I'm like, smart, exact, right? Without keeping an eye on exactly what matters. I always say the right flow to go is understand what the business objective is, right? So a lot of people start thinking from, a tactical deployment, like we want to use this channel, we want to do that, this is the idea. I'm like, what's guiding the idea? Then what are you really trying to achieve first, right? So what's your business objective? How does that business objective inform your marketing objective? Then your marketing objective then guide you to say, what strategy are we being putting behind this? What's the insights? How do we go to market? How do we achieve this for the audience? It has nothing to do with me, right? And then follow them where they are. Then that will be the strategy will then inform you on insight. You get insight from that. You know how to employ.
Key and follow them where they are. It's easier that way.
Then you can then think about tactical deployments and tactical implementation, measurement, and things like that, right? But I think that's one of the biggest things. Marketing professionals, build campaigns for marketing professionals, not necessarily what they're trying to do, right? Something that makes them feel good or makes them get applauses, accolade, right? And not for the award. But more really solving the business solution, right? So you need to start thinking of how does your activities affect the business bottom line, whether directly or indirectly? Because I like to always say indirectly, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of companies and founders and leaders just say, how does this affect? This is not giving me revenue. There are certain marketing investments or advertising investments, because they're two different things, right? But in two separate folds, whether it's marketing investment or advertising investment, I don't say spend, right? Because it's an investment. Those two things can give you either direct result or indirect results. The direct results are usually led when it's a performance-driven campaign or objectives, right? We're trying to get installs, we're trying to get leads. It's really, you can measure your efforts directly to things. But if you are, say, for example, B2B, right? And it's even maybe enterprise B2B to be able to hire or high back the higher part of the markets, or you're much more than FMCG, right? It becomes tricky, right? Because what becomes important in, say, for example, is brand awareness, brand recall. How can people recall you? They need to also be very smart in terms of that. How do you then measure effects indirectly? So can I do branded surveys to see actually the awareness campaign was good? Is it a tool I can use to measure attention from the ads that were displayed, right? So find a way to measure both direct and indirect efforts and tailor that to the business bottom line. And if it's direct, I mean, you're already in the direct place, right? So do the right thing, measure and show how that affects business bottom line. Then you stop being a cost center and you become an investment center.
There's something you just mentioned that struck me. You talked about the direct and indirect investment.
Yeah.
What would you have to say to companies who set up shop today and in a month's time they're expecting the marketing professional to bring in billions, based on the measure marketing spend that they have?
Yeah. So I'm a business leader, right? So I do understand why someone would think that or would want that.
Okay.
But I also think that the marketing professional also has to get it right. Okay, right. So typically it goes across different, I think it goes across every role in terms of this framework. Okay. But typically you should always ask before you come on board to say, how would you measure success in this role? Whether you're consulting or it's a full-time work, right? How would you measure success? And what timeline are you going to measure that? Once you've agreed that before you come on board, you already know what you're getting. So you choose to take it or not to take it. So 30 days, you know what's the access, what toughest month like at the company, right? And if that is not attainable to you, or you think it's not realistic, you don't have to take that, right? That complexity, because I like to say contextualize my advice, please. We don't have money. Sometimes people take it and try and rugged it. And I'm not even going to tell you this because there are also privileges, right? Some people can decide not to take certain risks, and some people don't have a choice because they have a due to
pay.
So I always say contextualize these things, right, to your reality. I think in rules that I might not be fully 100% comfortable with, but there are certain realities that I needed to deal with part time, right? I want to get something that I think fits. But the key thing is understand what needs to be done, right? And what success looks like, and the timeline to measure that. So you know what your first 30 days is. You know what your first 60 days is. You know what your first 90 days is, and what you're going to, deliver within that timeline. Also, as a person, always when you come into a new role, understand how can you get quick wins and how can you get long term. It's a lot of time. I see a lot of people make mistakes. Market Christian, I'll say that marketing is a long term investment. I agree 100%, right? It's a long term investment. But what can you do that can win some confidence? It might not give them like the big break, like the billions or something.
Yeah.
But can give, whoever you're reporting to
Confidence that, okay, this guy is on track to
we're going in the right direction.
Okay.
So make sure you always set what your short wins will be or your quick wins will be against your long term wins. Only overemphasize on long term wins and say that because you wouldn't have the time to survive. See that long term start germinating results.
Yeah.
Be that way. You need to be able to find out what can I do quickly today to get confidence and buy me time to actually get the long term sustainability pipeline. I use pipeline a lot now at this point. Sustainability pipeline or strategy, right? We put it that way, to keep the wheel spinning and to keep the wheel turning for investing for returns. Put it that way.
Okay. A question just popped in my head. Sorry, these questions are just in my head.
Shoot.
All right. So, with what is trending right now is AI.
Okay.
AI is, incorporated into almost everything these days. How do you see AI in the marketing space and the arts, tech space, affecting how we do business, how we market our products and services? How do you see AI uh, in the African space, right? In terms of marketing, now people don't use humans again for their advert. They use AIGCs now. Alright. So
Well,
yeah, so how are you seeing, this trend of AI, incorporated into the marketing space?
yes, AIGC is okay. I hope I don't come for them, but that's another conversation. Um, so I think the AI is here to stay. I would try not to be cliche, but I always say that cliches are cliche for a reason because they work. That's why they're called cliche because they work, right? So it's totally fine. But I think that what would happen for marketing when it comes to AI related impacts would be cut across different things. I think I wrote an article on at least on one side, which is on creative. I think when it comes to creative development, and then when I say that, I mean whether it's banners, steel, carousel, whatever it is, this will be done faster, right? But what would it be taken away from there is going to be creativity. So how do you prompt that into communicate your creative idea to that, right? AI is a pattern recognizing. I mean, we have not gone to self-generated. It's majorly a pattern recognizing system at the moment, right? So you can't self-think full creativity for himself. Exactly right now. So when you are creative, you can then use that to be faster in terms of deployment if you are thinking about, right? So I think that's what we do for that. But I also think it's going to come in when it comes to dynamic creative generation, where it's able to understand the context of each person, right? So for example, you're running an ad. So let me use, paid marketing to do an example. And the way Femi behaves is different from the way Guy behaves, right? And he understands what makes me tick, right? So if I see a shoe, say for example, on native, and it kind of fits that. So rather than just showing me a shoe alone, showing me a shoe on native and how that shoe goes with that native. And then showing Femi that same shoe or maybe on, a jean, for example, or a full three-piece suit, right? You typically would need to develop that differently, right? But I think that we get to a point where you to understand the context of different behavior and be able to auto-generate creatives instead of dynamically and tailor that to you as a person. So you don't have to do that manually, and then you can do that at scale. So the different audience personas and the peculiarities of you will be able to be done at scale in real time. That's what I think we'll get when it comes to that. On content writing, marketing side of things, I think that one is going to really disrupt things, right? Because it is pretty good at that. It is pretty good at that, right? Because I mean, it has a lot of data to learn from. It has a lot of audience behavior to learn from. It has a lot of behavioral understanding and psychology and neuromarketing of people, right, to learn from. So it has that understanding and research and study that I think is going to be, it will only get better than it is. So I think that one is going to disrupt that market. But I don't think it's going to take it out. I just think it's going to disrupt it in terms of it might reduce headcounts for things like that. But also, again, this is marketing, right? But I also think original pieces will become very important.
Yeah.
Because you always remember that what makes something valuable is the scarcity for that kind of situation, right? So if I tell you, for example, a creative is generated by AI, I'm more less likely to buy it, right? Because you know that you can do that.
I can do it, yeah.
Right? But what will you make you buy an art if you know that a human being painted
this.
it's cast, right? It's much more valuable. So I think we'll go back to original content across different things. So marketing, art, culture, originality will become a very important thing.
Yeah.
We to know that this was written by
By human.
you just would attach more value to it. Like I can say, how are you? And AI will say, how are you? But the best sentimental value you would attach to me writing that in quotes would get there. Yeah, there's a couple of things I think that AI will become very important with. I think recommendation would also be very big. To me, my prediction is that voice is going to be the leader when it comes to impact of AI in marketing. I think voice would be is the game changer.
How do you mean?
It plays. So you're going to have a personal assistant that understands context. Like, it's going to be way better than Google Assistant. It's going to be way better than Alexa. It's going to be way better than any voice assistant you know. It's going to be a part of your life.
Wow.
Look at it as it's going to be. They'll weave it into every part of your life. So if you check the Meta AI glasses, right?
Yeah.
Ray-Ban. Imagine that's with voice. The layering that's over OpenAI and everything, right? So you're driving, you're going to work, and you're like, I need to pick up something. You're just like, could you set a reminder to pick up flour for my wife when I'm coming back by 6? I should leave the office by 5 o'clock, and then that's automated. And then you're going out in the morning and you have a board meeting or something like that, and then you're still thinking of ideas of how to do that. You can just like troubleshoot with your voice command. Where I did something in the house, I just say, okay, I have a board meeting tomorrow. These are my plans. These are my plans. Can we work on it together? Blah blah blah. We can demo a lot of things. You can demo sales pitches. You say act as this, and then this give me feedback. I think voice is going to be so because it's a natural way for human beings to communicate. Yeah, like we're doing. So now trying to do that with AI is so good now. It's not Google Assistant, but it's so good now. You are going to have a very functional personal assistant that can do a lot of things for you across different places. Whether you want to buy something, want to set reminders, you want to call, like you're just gonna have like that free housekeeper in quotes that follows you everywhere. So that's what I think. That's my opinion.
AI is not going to take your job. AI is not going to take your job. So virtual assistant and executive assistant looking for job.
They would. I think it will impact that side. I don't think that it would take. I don't think AI would really take everybody's job. I think that it can reduce certain headcounts for certain types of jobs drastically, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to happen, right? But also, a lot of times, what we forget is that AI is going to create new
More jobs, exactly. So as it's reducing headcount for some kind of jobs, it's creating way more, more.
When we phased out horses, right? People that drive cars and all of that. So we phased out, right? But we needed to now start getting chauffeurs, people that can drive a car.
Exactly.
And things like that. So
Same thing with when you phased out typewriters and you brought in computers.
exactly. The typists that learned how to use computers were able to keep their jobs because they are now adopting new technology. Right? But when you don't adopt its trends, you will left behind.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So you mentioned something in your analogy. AI helped me bring flowers for my wife home. So Bukayo, you're married, right?
Yes, I'm married, happily married to the girl of grace.
Okay, happily married. How long have you been married for?
Over 3 years. We're 3 in September. Yeah, this is November. So 3 years and 7 months.
Interesting. How is married life?
Marriage is fantastic. Don't believe any bad marriage propaganda on the internet. It is fantastic. Marriage is good. I recommend marriage. I said that's my personal value. I'm going to be recommending my NTPC because there's too many bad publicity about marriage there. But there are a lot of good marriages out there.
But I think I would also agree with you, and I will make this platform one that will be advocating for good marriages. What would you say marriage has helped you in maybe your life or your career? As marriage played a significant role in your life or your career, helped you advance, or what do you think marriage has done for you for the 3 years that you've been married?
So I think a couple of things, right? But I would try and weigh them out into like maybe 2, 3, 4 buckets.
Okay.
First is your accountability goes up, right? That's 2 when you marry. So you're accountable to someone. Okay, kind of what you like when you like it, right? Because you now need to think about not just yourself, but the family units.
Okay.
All right. So you become more accountable. I think a lot of times people are scared of because they don't want to be accountable. But the good thing is that accountability, helps you to stay within a safe zone. Because I always tell people freedom is not ability to do anything you want. It's basically doing the right thing within a confine. Right? So you're not going out of
It's like
somewhere.
As you said that, I just remembered Kunle Shorinyo is one of the people I look up to, right? So Kunle Shorinyo will always say the highest level of freedom is madness. Like the man walking on the road is the freest medicine. So freedom should be within some confines of rules and accountability and all of that.
Exactly. So it will make you a lot more accountable. I also think that marriage drives off your responsibility. I'm all for an act for a responsible person in quotes, right? But it drives over responsibility, right? Because you can't make certain decisions as you can just do like a whim,
Yeah.
right? Also improves what you want to do with your life, right? Because you are now running a race not alone, but with someone.
Yeah.
And then it gives you clarity. It builds your vision. It expands your mind to what you want to do better because you would both push yourself. Like you push your partner pushes you, and you are going for more together. So your responsibility level improves, right? Because you're accountable to someone.
Okay.
Right. That's another thing. Um, I think the third one, which I've kind of mentioned in passing, is someone to do life with. Right. You really can't. Human beings are not built to be alone. It's very important to always mention that. Like I didn't even remember during the COVID thing at 2020, where we're all locked at home. Right. After so long, there was something about not just speaking to people and not just coming out and laughing and everything that you miss, right? Because you can't do life alone. I promise you, you cannot do life alone. It's impossible, right? But when you have a companion, a partner, right, it makes life a little bit, bearable. It makes life easier.
Easier.
Not be easy, but just easier. Because you're able to do hard things, do easy things, do tough things, run things by a partner, run things by people, get people to push you. And then you know that this person is your person. Come rain, come sun, come shine, whatever they say. You are with this person to the end of the line. So that's the core of marriage, right? I think those are like good things of marriage. Like you can build together, you can do a lot, right? And I think that a lot of people forget that you come together and you have like more leverage, right? So when you look at leverage, a lot of people think about money when it comes to marriage. That's practically, their full stop when it comes to marriage finances, right? But I like to look at partnerships and leverage. Like say, if you had your strength, I had my strength, and they are running alone, and I'm running alone, I will do well in quotes, but I would also have a limit, right? You also do well alone, but you also have a limit. But when we put our resources together in quotes, right, which is again leverage, I try not to use the word resources because most of the time when people hear resources,
Money.
financial resources. So leverage, we put our leverage together, which can either be financial leverage, network leverage, knowledge. Knowledge. Like my wife, I write, I speak, but when it comes to writing, my wife is a better writer than I am. And I can write well. Let me be very clear. I can write well, right? But that is also same thing with when it comes to like business decisions and other things like that. I'm more inclined to that side. So when you run and put together to leverage together, you can go further in life, right? You can go a lot further and fast until put it that way, right? So if I compound 10 naira, you compound 10 naira, that's just 10 naira. But if we put 20 naira together and we try and compound that, it's going to go faster than
I like how you even
together.
put it when you say leverage. People usually think about money first, right? You mentioned so many other things.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of other things.
One important thing you mentioned was network.
Yeah.
Network leverage.
Exactly. So
It's important.
there's network leverage, there's knowledge in terms of what you know, right?
Yeah.
There's value. What value are you able to create? Right. It's a lot, right? So I recommend marriage again.
So we're saying one would kill 1,000, two we put 10,000 to flight.
Exactly. Yeah, I will add the last one, which the Bible says, he will find a wife, find it in good day. I did and does what? Obtaineth favor from the Lord. I mean, don't marry because of that, but I'm just saying that you will have bonuses to take from biblical backings, right? In addition,
Because I hear this a lot, that the people who would say, "Oh, before marriage, I was trying to attain this level of success. I was trying to get this. I was pushing hard, but as soon as I married, everything was just coming easy. I was just, able to attain this level. I was able to get this and get that, easy." I'm like,
I think they still have spiritual backing, that has spiritual complications. I also think that sometimes people are lackadaisical before they get married, right? Or maybe not, they don't have something pushing them or keeping them right. When I say marriage increases your responsibility and accountability, right, it also helps you to put structure that you know exactly, like, it's not just me at this point of reference. you have to be accountable and you have to be responsible, right? But also their spiritual backings, like I just mentioned, that also could open doors. No, but
Okay. I know that sometimes work can be exhausting, right? Especially in Nigeria. Um, you know, coupled with traffic, the demands of work and all of that. Well, what would you say keeps you motivated, most days?
so when it comes to motivation for work, right? It's always that we have an understanding of what problem we're trying to solve and where we want to be. So at PCR Tech, right, we're very clear. Started when we started business, they brought me in to say, Bukayo, we don't want to build the advertising technology amongst this business. How do we do that, right? And then we started from scratch. And they said, this is where we want to be. So I understood the vision, right? You have to sell me the vision as a person. Like you have to, for me to be like locked in because it's going to get tough. Like you're going to get,
That's what's going to keep you
that's
going. Yeah.
so I would say what motivates me first is like I have very clear vision of where we want to be. And then we might not go straight. In fact, you can't go
You
straight.
can't go straight. Yeah.
Right. You might go this way.
It's an
Some days are
undulating.
tough. Exactly.
Yeah.
Some days are tough and all that. And I've learned that with this work. Like I don't take it personal, right? When it's tough, you just take it like that. It's tough, right? But you don't quit. Just keep going. You might be slower, but keep going there. Then you gain your momentum and then you're back again, right? So I think what keeps me going on that work side of life is motivation. Of course, in addition to good pay, but I don't think that's really one because I've taken a pay cut to work somewhere to let you know, right? I've taken a pay cut to work somewhere because I understood the vision I was trying to get because I know that the value would be added and value be created and then I can always make money once that is done because that's what people pay for at the end of the day. So that vision is very important. But life, the balance when it comes to life is that I used to attach a lot of my identity to work in the past. I mean, I used to work 7, and I'm not even trying to exaggerate, 7 to 2, not 2 p.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. 7 to 2, 7 to 3, steady. I remember the time I knocked out and they forced me to go on leave. So I started making typographical error in that I typically wouldn't do, right?
So when you do 7 to 2, when
Yes.
do you wake up?
I wake up like 6:30, go some minor, then I'm back on the laptop again by 7. It was some very bloody days. It helps. I I don't know if I will say I recommend or not. That's why I contextualize it to your life, even if it's
Exactly. That's what
I don't
a balance.
exactly. But I learned that a lot of my identity was tied to work, right? So when I was not working, I felt like in quotes, I didn't have anything to do, like could not add value. There was not that value, right? So I like, nah, this can be it. And I listened to books. Sorry, I listened to podcasts. I read some books, and then it made more sense to me. Then I created a balance, and I knew what I wanted out of life more than that. I'm a Christian, so I knew that there's other parts of life like purpose. Exactly, purpose. I understood assignment, and I understood what I needed to do. It's family is so important to me that I would always prioritize that over that to me. So I had to clearly state what are my priorities and what other are they. Do you understand? So I still do my best. I always tell people like I still work hard, like very hard.
Yeah.
I close late at nights at times when it needed. Then I'm very up in the morning to do certain things, or I'm working weekends as the need arises. But I think you need to be very clear what percentage of things you take in your life and be ready to face the consequences of that thing as well. You can't cheat. Like if somebody is putting 40 hours a week and someone's putting 80 hours a week, if they're both doing the right thing, in quotes, because it's very important to also do the right thing. If they're both doing the right thing, you don't expect to get the 80 hours a week result with 40 hours results. Basically, might have sacrificed friends, friendship, family to get that head start in life, right? And but all I always say is be comfortable with that and be comfortable with the consequences of that. You might make a lot of money, might make a lot of impact, cost, but at what cost, right? And understand the cost and be fine with the cost. I don't think there's any wrong or right. What I have problem with is that people are not fine with the cost and both parties want everything. You can't have everything, right? You're doing 40 hours a week, you will not have 80 hours results, right? But you might have results in other parts of life if you use the other time properly, right? You say you spend time with family, so maybe you're closer to your kids, or you're closer to your folks, you have a thriving friendship situation and things like that, right? Why the other person maybe not have a thriving friendship community. Doesn't mean that some people still don't make it work. Some still try and make it work, but there's always a cost. Something would give, something will always give. But find what works for you at different points in life. I also think that young people want to do work-life balance too early. This is their life, right? I'm like
Shots fired.
yeah, no, really, it's true, right? Because you can't
Gen
use
Z,
it-
yeah.
no, I think Gen Z people are working hard. Let's not. Are you serious? I think they work hard. I think that they just have a different formula to these. Baby boomers,
True.
like their identity was very tied to work.
Yeah.
Millennials have identity to work, but also started to create what we call, friendship communities and things like that. Gen Zs are very, very peculiar to say. They want to do work that has purpose and fits their life vision, right? While still be able to fit the other parts of their life to that work. Gen Zs will put in the time, work extra hours, really good with it, understand the personality, right? They also work they are working so early in their life. I worked very early in my life. I started when I was year 4, to be very clear. But I think that they're also working very early in their life and have to pay bills very early in their life. So they have to juggle 2, 3 things. That's why I say a lot of young people have this business or have that business or have this business, have like 2 things. Small
On
that
the
thing,
side,
selling eggs.
apart from their 9 to 5,
Yeah, exactly. Some of them even have 9 to 5. They're still in school and they start makeup. So I don't think we should also give that generation a lot of kudos because they really have to deal with the realities of their time.
I think they are pretty good at finding their purpose early
Exactly.
and then focusing on it. And so when they work hard, it doesn't really feel like they are, working hard. Yeah, it's something they enjoy. So for example, somebody says he doesn't feel he's going to thrive working as a banker or working in a bank, and he says he wants to do photography. So he can be in the studio doing photography for 10 hours and it will be like he has not even started working.
Exactly. And so I think the landscape also gives enough opportunity, right? In terms of, like I said, I wanted to do software engineering, for example, but you find it actually. But there was no university to do software engineering. Now you can go to different universities in the country and actually study software engineering or do photography, like you said, because you can self-study that over the internet. Take courses, intern under someone, to get this done. So you can take a very non-traditional path and still be successful in life without going through like the normal traditional that we're quite used to. So I think they should also be, the only thing I think that they need to learn better is perseverance and being resilient. It's like you need to learn how to see things through very well and persevere and take the pain, build you, because it would build you. That's something I think they can, but I think they get a lot of stick. Get a lot of stick.
How would you say you unwind? How do you unwind when you're, work and all of that? Are you the movie kind of person?
Yeah,
Mm.
I am. So I don't go clubbing, and I'm not trying to be moral. I just find like, even though yes, there's a moral part of it for me. Will I say I judge you or not? We'll find out later. But I think the real thing for me is like I can't stand loud music, so I can't be in the club, right?
Okay.
So it's not wrong if people have their different genres, right? Not a problem. I rarely drink. Maybe I take red wine. That's what I do, and I take maybe a glass. Very rarely do that. But that's not even unwinding to me. I just like the taste of good red wine that is being done. But for unwinding, I play games. Yeah, I like playing. So I play Football Manager. I'm already playing Football Manager 26 already. I've been Football Manager since 2008. Be very clear. Yeah. So I play Football Manager on my laptop or on mobile or football FM Touch. I play that. I play video games. So
Okay.
I like video games.
Which of the video game? PUBG, Call of Duty.
No. Yeah, I play Call of Duty. So console. Okay, Jordan console, right? So I play Call of Duty. I play GTA 5. We've all finished that anyways. I play Call of Duty. I play FIFA. Pretty good at FIFA. Even though I do say so myself, I'm not very humble about that. So yeah, I play FIFA. I play whatever game, NBA, 2K, the NBA 2K 24, 25. I play video games. But another way I unwind is also cinema. I go to cinema a lot. I go to cinema at least twice a month. Right, minimum twice a month to the cinema. So I do have subscription for that. So I do that and I watch movies at home with my wife. We like watching movies together as well. So those are some ways that I unwind. I go swimming once in a while. Trying to pick up tennis. I haven't started yet. The racket is the house, the ball is the house. Just go. I go and take coach and start. But I try to be very intentional this year to find a hobby outside of work, right? Something that's I would just enjoy doing that is not work while still being able to do the best. Because I can tell you that being a business is can be tough, but because the boxes are at a table, but it helps me to unwind. So I go swimming at times for that. But most of the time would be movies, video games, and cinema.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. What would be your advice to a young Nigerian or anybody watching around the world, somebody who hasn't found his purpose yet or is trying to find clarity, on where to go? For you, it's, for you to pivoting into marketing, tech and all of that. How would you advise somebody who is unclear about what path to go to follow? How do they, get into whatever it is that, they are looking at, probably
Yes.
tech or marketing?
Exactly. So I think someone asked me this question a little bit a while ago, basically, and I made a video on it on my Instagram. And he goes with a very popular saying, on which I 100% agree with, is clarity comes by doing, right? You can't know what you like or what you don't like or what you're good at or what you're not good at if you are mentally doing it mentally. You have started to place. So clarity comes by doing. I always tell you, we are young. This is when you have low liability, low repercussions, low consequences of your actions. I mean, when I say low consequences, I'm saying like do bad things like drugs or something. I'm trying to say like you can take risks that are calculated at this point in your life because you have a lifetime of opportunity to correct it, right? So do many things and then you figure out what you're good at or what you enjoy doing. A lot of times what people want to get is they want to sit down and say, should I do this? What am I good at? I don't know what I'm good at. I shouldn't do this. Which one? What do you think? What should I do? I'm like, I hope you're not trying enough.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, don't think, just do. And you're not trying enough to know what you're good at. If I give you the journey, I started, right? Like I said, I went for training as Digify by right, marketing, and I studied deficit management. Because experience compounds. Very important, right? Experience compounds. It's not going to be one thing that would give you the big break. It could be at the points that you got a big break, but I don't think one thing was what gets you by the line most of the time.
Yeah.
At times, yes, it might be one phone call or one introduction that gave you that big break, right? But for most people, it's not going to be one name. It's going to be a compounded accumulation of exactly. So you get clarity by doing. So try one, try two, and then you get better. You get better, you improve, you find where you're comfortable at, you get where you want to grow, not just comfortable, right? Don't stay where you're just comfortable because you stop growing. But keep doing things and keep doing things. Started as, social media marketing manager for my life, wrote content for websites, learned SEO, and to write SEO. Then I started doing design on Canva like 2016 thereabouts. Canva was totally free then. I'm telling you that I learned basic, principles of design, understood how design works, and I started to do design on social. Then I learned SEO, the entire stack of SEO, technical, local, off page, on page. I was reading branding. I was reading Caroline Wabara, the last Nigerian SEO person. Then I was reading this guy from Moz. I don't know if you know Moz. I don't know this guy from, I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's Richard Fishkin or something like that. But I didn't start out to say that I wanted to be where I am right now, right? I just did this. Then when I started writing on doing social media marketing, I needed to learn how to do design. And I picked up design. Then I needed to learn how to write on websites. And I learned how to use WordPress. That then led me to say, okay, I can't just write content for websites. I need to be able to optimize this content and write SEO friendly content. Then I learned SEO right from there. And I learned paid ads marketing. And then I learned these. And I went to trajectory. So it's literally doing and 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 then I'm going to account manager, then senior account manager, then business lead where I can. You just keep getting better at things, right? You find things that you're not good at, things that you're good at, then you focus on what you want to improve, right? I would say manage your weaknesses, then improve and compound your strengths, right? So manage your weaknesses because it's not an excuse, right? But know how to manage it, right? But what you're really good at, make sure you're really good at that, like keep, expanding on that and get better at it. So clarity comes by doing and experience compounds. Those two things, right? And take risk earlier. Don't take calculated risk. I like to calculated risk because sometimes people take unnecessary risk, right? Be very careful where you work first and who you work with because it can lay the foundation of how your life will be. So the first place you work or the first set of people you work with can lay the foundation of what your next 3-4 years will look like. You can correct it, but you might have lost 2-3-4 years at the point, right? So it's very, very key to also be very careful of where you start as well.
Awesome. Learned one key thing: clarity comes by doing. Okay, so as we wrap up, what would you say is that principle that has held you over the years and that has, kind of made you who you are today? So I can say that one of the principles that has, or one of the quotes, principles or quote or whatever it is a quote from Bishop David Oyedepo, Dr. Oyedepo. So he used to be, or he's a chancellor, right? I went to Landmark University, and then I think it was 100 level thereabouts. I heard him say, "You are absolutely responsible for the outcome of your life."
Now, man.
Like, he said it casually, but that hits me hard. Like, you don't have anybody to blame for the outcome of your life. Not the government, not where you were born. You are absolutely responsible. And from that point, I decided to, take my life by the horn, right? To be in control of the trajectory, that my life moves on. So what would you say has been, that quote or that principle that you've worked with over the years?
For me, I don't think it's one thing, but I think it's a few things, right? The first is that very early, like my father is very principled, right? So what he had instilled in us from very young ages, gives you freedom, but within the confines. So you learn responsibility very early. So when he's traveling, he gives you a pocket money. Like, he gives you pocket money for the week. If you like finish it on Wednesday, that's your business. Do you can identity? That's your business. So he gives you a responsibility. This is your money. You need to learn how to manage that one. Then you tell you, one other thing. I'm trying to remember what he's trying to say. When he gives you money and you spend this before then, that's the end of that money. Another thing I see with him is that he puts his best in anything that he's doing. His ability to think of 3, 4, 5 ways something can turn out and have a plan for everywhere. He always say that. He say that a lot of times people say, this is how this thing will go. You say, tí ò bá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ńkọ́? Allow me to use the Yoruba. You say, tẹ́bù rẹ̀ sọ pé báyìí ló ṣe máa lọ. Tó bá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ńkọ́, what do you do? So if you plan to say things are going to go like this, what if it doesn't go that way? Do you have a plan for that? Right. So it helps me to like have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. Right. Another one then would then be very similar to what you said. It's you're responsible for everything that happens to you at the end of the day. How you choose to respond to that is on you. Right. One needs to be done regardless. Whether you feel like it or not, it needs to be done regardless. So I always think about it. I'm responsible for everything that happens to me. If I make a choice, I always try to be truthful to myself. Maybe it's not the best decision, but am I comfortable with it?
Are you ready for the
Am I ready for the consequences? Yeah, of that thing, right? If I am, you can't preach anything to me because I've already made peace with myself. Right? Try not to lie to myself. Very key. Right? I think a lot of people lie to themselves and they outsource that thinking to other people and wait for people to validate certain things. It's a good thing to have discussion with a trusted circle, to hear feedback on certain things, right? But don't outsource your thinking entirely have your conviction, and then have a strong anchor to say, this is your life. My life is anchored in Jesus. So Jesus is directing my life. If it's out of that, any advice you want to give me that out of that one, I cannot take it. Let me be very clear. So after your all advice, if it's far away from that, it's going to be difficult for me because it will affect my integrity and I can't sleep at night. Right. So yeah.
Interesting. So I just have one more question. What would be your advice for your 20-year-old self? Imagine the 20-year-old Bukayo and the Bukayo now. So if you're sitting directly opposite your 20-year-old self, what would you advise him? What would you tell him? What would be, your advice to him?
My advice would be, let's see. I would say maybe two things. First is that take more risk. Some people see me and say that, I've taken risk and I'm here with my life and it's really nice and I'm really grateful for that. I still think that we're taking a little bit more risk. Maybe, just maybe.
Right?
I could have been pushed further than currently harming every aspect of my life and not just work, to be very clear. To take more risk. But another thing I will also say is that you'll be fine. Like that spirit of authenticity when you're very young, should you be there? Should you do this? Should I test it? Should I not do that? Whatever you decide, you will be fine. You will figure it out. Don't spend so much time on thinking and overanalyzing the authenticity and spend more time on doing and getting things moving faster.
So pretty much fail fast.
Fail fast. I try not to be that guy that is fail fast, because you can go and fail fast and do this for me. But really, like you'll be fine, right? Just do, and you figure things like you will not have everything all figured out. But it's very all right. Yeah, have everything figured out. Maybe this is downside of trying to have plan A, plan B, plan C kind of in, right? But I think spend more time doing it faster to learn from that. So I don't wait 1 year to do certain things or 6 months to do certain things, and yeah, happy.
Interesting. I think this was an interesting, dialogue, and I would say that I'll watch this over and over again because I learned so many things, from this.
Thank you for having me.
Dialogue. Just a quick, fun wrap, quick fire with you. Coffee or tea?
Tea, definitely tea.
Definitely
tea.
Oh, you're a coffee guy.
I started drinking coffee a long time ago, but I used to take black coffee a lot.
Okay.
But it's very unhealthy too.
Okay. All right. Okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
More early bird, because I wake up, I don't sleep all through the night, so I'll put it that way. But the thing is that I wake up early and I can go back to bed. I can be awake like 3 and I go back to bed like 6:30, 6 o'clock. I'm awake by 7 or so. But I'm also late. I go to bed late too, but not later than my wife. I go to bed like 11:30, 12, right? She goes to bed. It needs to be later than that. But yeah, it's dynamic. It's very tricky to see. She would tell you that I'm an early bird and early riser, right? So I think that would be fair actually. I go to bed earlier and then I rise pretty early. Okay, yeah, I wake up pretty early.
If you weren't doing marketing, what else will you be doing?
I'll probably be building games, to be honest. Yeah, I'll probably be building games. I'll probably be writing something around Call of Duty or something like. Oh yeah.
Are you making cool cash?
I rarely be building games somewhere.
Oh, that would be.
Or maybe I'm selling, right? In terms of sales pitch and things like that, or VC funding. But yeah,
I want just VC for okay. That's quite interesting. My last question would be: describe your life in one word.
Grace. My life is great, and grace, great. I can't lie. This is grace, pure grace. This is of God brought me this far. Yeah, grace.
Wow, this has been an exciting discussion, an exciting dialogue. It's great having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your exciting time.